Hello and welcome to the Bobby Moore stand. Strange camera angles, strange standing mic. It's Gary. I've got technical problems and nightmare. 45 minutes of troubleshooting failed, so I got the laptop out. Anyway, here we go. Evening, everyone. Evening, everyone in the chat. Anyone that's watching, anyone that's hung around for 3/4 an hour while I fix my bloody technical issues. You know what I did? I was mucking around in here today in the office, and I sorted a few things out. I didn't think anything happened to this, but clearly it did. So I'm going to have to strip it down again tomorrow and go for it. Chris, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I think I need to ask how you're doing, because I think you're massively stressed out after that.
I'm very stressed.
45
I'm very
minutes.
stressed, but we're light now, so it's all right. It's all right. It's not bad. So
yeah, sorry, people. Sorry for keeping you waiting.
That's all right. Well, I'm saying that's all right. Not on there.
Yeah, not you.
Right.
To the chat.
Yeah, might be all right. Might not be. But anyway, I'll have my normal mic back next time. You'll have to put up me on the laptop for now. So got a big show actually. Got the latest on the potential consortium of 3 Americans, and then a quick look at the American ownership because it's fascinating, and then transfer updates. We've got about 1 million transfer updates at least. We're literally being linked with every player available at the moment, and every one of our players is being linked to leave somewhere, right? And then, as if that weren't enough, a little news roundup at the end. So you're gonna have to move through quite quickly, I think. The news. I mean, we could actually do news at the beginning. No, let's do news at the end. It's boring. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, this channel where we work hard to use alternative hardware to bring a show out, irrespective of how much trouble it causes, please subscribe to the channel, the Bobby Moore stand. Give the video a like, hit the bell notification icon, and all that stuff. But anyway, let's get on with it. For Christ's sake, we've been waiting around ages. Okay, let's look at the American owners, this potential consortium. So I'm working across 2 laptops now, bear with me, and I have a load of stuff worked out on this. Firstly, and I'm sure you've read different variations of this today in various sources, and I think it's just gradually built up. You know, it started off with the other day with Bobby Kotick, the former Activision owner, and then he was going to do a straight buyout of the gold shares, and then he wasn't, because Trip Smith was looking to form a consortium with another guy called Mark Walter, who is actually one of the shareholders of Blueco that own Chelsea and Strasbourg. I hope you're keeping up. Yeah, Todd Bowley, the owner of Blueco, was actually looking at West Ham first of all, but he ended up buying Chelsea instead because he's deluded. Anyway, that's what he did. So that means he's actually a part of a small shareholder in Blueco that owns Chelsea and the thing. So minority shareholders, as we know with Kretinsky, you can have a minority share in another club, just can't have a majority. I don't know if there are any specific rules around Premier League clubs and having an interest in 2. There probably is, I would imagine. So I imagine you have to divest his interest in that if this was to go forward. But it looks like Trip Smith, who's been on our board, he's been a shareholder for a long time now. He's got 8% at the moment. Mark Walter, of Guggenheim Partners, that owns Guggenheim Capital, which is an asset manager that has got 220 billion of assets under management. That company's been around a long time. He used to, I think he still does own the LA Dodgers, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, it's on the face of it, it's for the 25.1% stake that Vanessa Gold has been trying to get rid of for quite some time. Rumours of the business empire of Ann Summers having a little bit of money few money problems at the moment. To the tune of 13 million. Well, what she'll get for these shares, I would think, would dwarf that. It's the club's valued. Ignore the 1.5 billion valuation. That actually came from somebody doing an average price across the really expensive clubs and the really cheap clubs, and it come out average 1.5 billion. That doesn't mean we're worth 1.5 billion. Companies are usually worth 2 to 3 times their revenues, but I suppose rules don't apply with football. Forbes valued West Ham at 880 million. As if 880 million last May, so only a year ago. So you've got to be saying, if you imagine Kretinsky paid between the club was worth between 600 and 700 at the time, and we all thought that was inflated. He paid between 180 and 200 million for his shareholding. So say it's worth 900 now. This is going to be in the region of 220 to 250 million investment. You know why? I've got 220 billion written on me, the managed assets. Right. So that's it. So this consortium could effectively buy a 25.1% stake. If it is a consortium led by Trip Smith, he's already owned 8% of the shares. If he puts those into the consortium, it will be a 33.1% stake. Kretinsky has 27%. So, assuming they were to buy him out or they were to work together, maybe he'd even join their consortium, you'd have a 60.1% stake, a clear majority, and the ability to do all sorts of funny things to David Sullivan, including, rearrange the way the club is run, probably put a more professional looking board in there rather than the waifs and strays that we've got in there at the moment. It's who's who and ex-wives and all sorts. A pointless collection, I think, just put in place so that the majority would vote with Sullivan, and that I wouldn't imagine would be allowed under a new ownership, and they'll change that immediately. So were that to happen, and again, these sort of things take quite a while. I think the takeover of Chelsea by Todd Bowley took bloody ages. Were that all to happen, I think we're still looking at Sullivan perhaps being around for the rest of this season or some of this season. But then again, it could move quickly. It depends how urgently, I suppose, how much of a good deal they can get. And it's not like Trip Smith doesn't know Sullivan and know the club already. He does. Not cold coming in from the outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you reckon, Chris?
Well, I want to say I'm excited about it because I think, as you said, these sort of things don't happen overnight. But ultimately, if it means that there's an end game here with Sullivan not having the majority control of West Ham, then I'm all in, mate. I am all in. It's potentially quite exciting. It's potentially very exciting. But yeah, my thoughts around it. Always when this kind of news comes out, I kind of take everything with a pinch of salt. I always have done. Because there's so much garbage it's written out there, but this stuff does seem to be gaining a lot more momentum actually this week, I must admit. So I don't know, it feels like there is some kind of substance of truth in this. There does, but so I'm hoping that maybe something like this might come to fruition. Really,
what convinced me wasn't the tweets that we were seeing coming out yesterday and the other shows, because I just ignored them, and everyone is always linking Trip Smith up with doing something exciting with West Ham, or perhaps he's interested now, right?
There's been noise before, isn't there, Gal? There has been noise before with him, so yeah,
there has been, but not only that, Trip Smith has worked with Mark Walter before and with Bobby Cottage before, not all three of them together, but they've worked. They've had business interests. I think Trip Smith had an interest in Guggenheim, or has an interest in Guggenheim. I'm not sure what the relationship between Trip Smith and Bobby Cottage was, but the fact is, as long as it's not, Bobby Cottage, we were looking at his history the other day. Not really a fan. I don't think you're going to know what until we know who would be in control and who would, because you've got Todd Bowley at Chelsea. He has got the controlling stake. He calls the shots, right? Even though there's a consortium of different investors, he calls the shots. Somebody in this arrangement would call the shots, and I don't know who that would be. I agree with you. Listen, Sullivan, there's all sorts of things that they can do to make life very, very uncomfortable for Sullivan. There's also a number of pending court cases with Sullivan as well. So who knows what the future holds there? No comment. But as long as he does not have a majority share and able to put his friends and family on the board and ex-wives on the board and whatever else, as long as he can't treat it as his plaything and get involved in every single transfer deal, I think if he weren't allowed to do that, Chris, he would soon lose interest in West Ham. Yeah, and he'd want out.
Yeah, he's taken West Ham as far as he can do, right? He doesn't want to invest much more money into the club. So I think now is the time where he has to fucking sell up, right? I just want him. Well, I think we need to get other people in control because we're never going to move on as a club. We're just not. We need to. So as far as I'm concerned, like I said, the sooner the better. I know these things take time, but hopefully it happens because I'd love to see the back of that guy. I really would. He's been like a fucking cancer to this club.
I totally agree. And look, when they left Birmingham City, they sold them to a very dodgy bloke, and it was a strange deal, right? What this is someone else calling the shots, and actually, using this would actually be out of Sullivan's control. He would not be calling the shots on this. All sorts of movements could happen without his involvement, right? And that's what I really like about it. On the downside, there's all that stuff we spoke about the other night in terms of American ownership, because it's from the devil. It's between the devil and the deep blue sea, right? And it's been called. It's a hell of a choice, as Gary Pritchard says there. The wolf or the American, and that is the problem. So on another article that I read, somebody was calling out that, I think I said last week, that there was 11 existing Premier League owners that were American, plus 12 including us. So 11 at the moment. We would make 12, and then you got the Abu Dhabi lot and the Saudi mob at Newcastle, who would vote with the Americans, because they're very friendly. So it would make 14 and a super majority, and they could do what they like with the league. Well, that's this year. It's even worse next year. So Ipswich are American owned. They're getting relegated. They're being replaced by Burnley and Leeds, who are both American owned.
Burnley American owned, are they? I knew Leeds, but I didn't know Burnley.
49ers Enterprise Global Football Group, LLC USA. So if you're in doubt, Burnley is American Investment Group, ALK Capital. If Sheffield United get promoted as well, they are American owned, COH Sports. So let's just assume Sunderland get promoted. They're French owned, right? If Sunderland get promoted and Sheffield United don't, that means West Ham would be the 12th. And it'd be exactly as I said last week. So again, when I was saying 11 last week, that was including, I'll spell it out now. It was including Ipswich getting relegated and Burnley and Leeds getting promoted, right? So that makes 12. Add the 2. So fact is, if Sheffield United get promoted as well, that's 13 American owners in the Premier League plus City and Newcastle. They can do what the hell they like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, at least one of them is going to play along. Probably both, but likely Newcastle, I would say. So that's the story. What the future holds for football in this country, I don't know. Should that happen, but what do you do? What do you do? Do we cling to this geezer who's run this club into the ground and moved us to somewhere else, or do you just hope for something new? It feels like you're on the precipice. Like when we moved from Upton Park to the London Stadium, you kind of hope it works out, but it could be so much worse, right?
No, I'd be happy with a change, Gal, because the way I look at it is this, right? If it's not us being taken over by another Yank, it's going to be another club. So really, what difference does it make if you look at it from that perspective? Or we continue with the poisoned wolf and just continue as we are, which is not a fucking happy place. So for me, it's a no-brainer, Gal. It is.
I know, honestly, that is the way I'm thinking of it as well, but I'm just trying to be sort of devil's advocate. There is one likely outcome for this as well, and that is, I think, why Kretinsky got engaged in the first place, and it's part of a land deal around the London Stadium. If they were to take the ownership of the London Stadium away from whatever entity it belongs to now, the land that is included with the London Stadium is all of the surrounding lands that make it operational. And I don't know what that is, but it's at least the footprint of Fish Island and probably some stuff on the left, probably all of the areas where you've got ingress and egress points, right? I would suggest.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone in the chat knows exactly how much land is there, but I mean, all I've done is run a 10K in the past and run around the stadium, and there's a hell of a lot of land over to the left-hand side there. I don't know how much of it belongs to the football club, but you would imagine all of that area outside, the bridges, probably part of the walkway down. So you know what I mean? You couldn't have them in any other sort of ownership, because in theory they could shut those entrances off, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of land, and I think we've always kind of thought, it was a property play. So yeah, I think there's definitely. I'm just reading what people are saying here. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, like I said before, I do think that we just need to get rid. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care whatever direction football's moving in now. Just West Ham being taken over by American is not going to have an impact really in the bigger scheme of things, because other clubs will be taken over by other Americans as well, Gal. So I just think we need to change regardless. I think we need to change, and I'll embrace it.
I'm going to be pragmatic about this. Whatever happens to football, I'm going to take the attitude it would have happened anyway.
Exactly.
With
Sullivan
in charge, he'd jump onto anything that will make him a few quid. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So that is there are so many ways this could dice and slice, but I've got to focus on the big prize here. The big prize is taking away the power of Sullivan, and without the power, he ain't staying long. He ain't. He isn't. Right? He would sell his shares, probably come to a deal with the new people. They could actually, hurt him as well with a rights issue, I guess, and diminish his shareholding even further if they really wanted to. It depends if they, how much money they have to raise, I guess.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to be part of. I mean, if he didn't have, didn't have overall control of West Ham, he wouldn't want to be here. So, absolutely, get rid of him.
Yeah. I just wonder. I mean, our only experience of a billionaire before, apart from Kretinsky, who's the tightest billionaire on the planet, our only other one was a bankrupt billionaire in it was Goodmanson, wasn't it? Goodmanson, and Eggy, his front man. So look what happened to the Icelandics. Indeed.
I'll tell you what. I remember that time. I was so excited. So I remember that scene because I really kind of bought into it. I did, and it seemed like
so did I. Everyone liked Eggy.
Madison and so yeah, because it seemed like he really bought into West Ham as well, didn't it? He really did. And but yeah, we all know what happened. But that's just so typical West Ham, isn't it? The timing of it all was just so typical West Ham.
Yeah, he was definitely led by his emotions, Eggy. He wanted to do the right thing. He sort of loved the club, didn't he? Cat is a way of finding out if next time he's stingy and cheap before he signs on the dotted line. Well, no. And I should recite to you the experience of Man United. The Glazers bought them with a loan, and they then transferred that loan onto the balance sheet. And now, all these years later, Enios, new owners, with Jim Ratcliffe have taken over, and they're insisting that they pay that debt off the balance sheet. The season ticket holders and the people who buy tickets, right? So the fans are paying back the Glazers' debt, and the Glazers have taken a lot of money out of that club. So there are some really nasty business practices that could happen with this. I know the Arsenal fans were always moaning about Kroenke, but again, with them, I don't listen to them very much because it's the difference between fourth and third, where they're moaning about not winning the league. Whereas we're kind of on the verge of just collapsing literally every time we've had a bit of goodness or a bit of a bad time. It goes the other way, doesn't it?
Well, there's lots of variables outside of our control, Gal. This is the thing. There's so many variables outside of our control. So by all means, we just kind of almost have to embrace the change, whatever change is going to be. We have to embrace it. So what can we do, really? What voice do we have nowadays? Honestly, what do we have?
Oh, no, we don't have any at the moment. And
exactly.
Trip Smith has been around for some time. I still don't know enough about Trip Smith. I don't know anything about these other guys either, but I'm sure if that is to, we will get to know them intimately in terms of their record and what they do and what they like and the stuff they do with football clubs. The fact is, almost every American owner in the Premier League, there's loads of others as well throughout the Football League. Crawley Town's got American owners. Who knew? Wickham, all sorts.
Wrexham.
Portsmouth, Wrexham, loads of them. A lot of the owners come from either baseball or NFL or even basketball. They're, major league sports over there where they absolutely maximize their profits and rinse the fans for as much as they can get. It's all about the TV revenues, growing the TV revenues. I think the first thing to go, and I don't think it's a bad thing actually, is the no live football at 3:00 on Saturday. There's hardly any games at 3:00 on Saturday. So it was a point when they created the Premier League. It don't really matter anymore, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's a shame, a real shame, actually.
Yeah, that would give more money. I think they're shown everywhere else apart from this country, right? They're all recorded live. So just got to pick up on this. Mr. Steady Hands just joined a BS. It sounds like BS and a carve up fans just to shift season tickets. I think Craven left me a message the other day and sort of stamps his feet a bit and said, "Sorry, Craven, if you're in the chat, but you did stamp your feet a bit." So got to stop saying this that people could be convinced by season tickets. No, I didn't say once that fans will be convinced to buy season tickets. I actually said Sullivan thinks they'll be convinced to buy season tickets, right? And that's why he tries the same shit over and over again. That's why he repeats the same messaging, like we've got no money, and then he suddenly buys some players, or as soon as we lost a couple of games, he's getting messages out there to have a go at the manager. We've never got any money in January because it's a bad time to buy. But we'll spend the whole of January apparently chasing players that we're not chasing, right? They've played these games in the same way every single season since they arrived. And they've literally only bought, go back to the summer transfer example, They've only ever spent twice in the summer transfer window, and that was both times when we were looking at relegation. The first time we did get relegated, the second time was when I bought Jared and Souček, and it did, give us the injection we needed, right? So that was my point on that. I still there might be some of this in it. I might be getting my hopes up for nothing. But the reason I've reported this tonight, Chris, is because I did read some independent news articles that didn't refer to the tweets or anything else, that were talking about information being leaked by investment firms about this.
Okay, all right.
Right. So, and they were from sensible publications. So that's why I'm inclined to think there's something in it. And that's what got me excited, actually.
I must admit, a few days ago, I didn't. I thought it was all BS. Like that last message you just had up there. I thought the same thing. I thought this is just a ploy, another play just to try and get people to buy season tickets, because obviously it hasn't been great so far. However, like you said, I've not done as much reading around this. I've just swamped with work. I've not got round to reading it, but I must admit, everything I'm hearing so far from various people, it does seem as if this is gaining some genuine momentum. And I'd like to think that this is actually true. I really would. And like I say, regardless of American owners and perhaps, what that could mean for the future of English football, I'm kind of thinking, like I said already, embrace it, take it, because it will happen regardless, Gary. It's inevitable. It is inevitable. If it's not West Ham, it will be another club. There's more and more American owners in English football nowadays anyway, as you've already pointed out. So actually, Sullivan out? Absolutely. 100%. Can't stand the guy.
100%.
For me,
Even that Bobby Cottage we were talking about the other night, I'd fucking take him and all his kids to run West Ham rather than Sullivan. Having him there with no power is worse for him.
Of course it is.
Than having the power, right? Than having no shares, right? It's
absolutely. And I think with Sullivan versus anyone else, right? As far as I'm concerned, I don't think we could. Well, dare I say, I don't think we could get many worse owners. I think he's horrific. I think this guy. I mean, in terms of, I don't even want to say what I think or what I think I know, but it's bad. I want him done. I want him out. I don't want him anything associated with our club anymore.
I don't think, Gazza, it'd take a couple of years, to be honest, because West Ham's quite a simple concern compared to the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Man United. Those takeovers take years. West Ham won't take years. They can move on it pretty quickly, I think. When I say quick, I mean 6 months, right? And then 6 months, not if bullshit was orange juice, they'd call Sullivan Mr. Jeffer. Yes, they would.
I'm surprised TC's not built up another consortium to try and take over West Ham,
Oh, the last
he always gets involved, doesn't
he? Yeah. So that is it for the big story. And we've spoken about the amount of American owners that are there, kind of put the record straight on that one. There will be 12 minimum, or if we get an American owner, and 13 if Sheffield United get promoted as well. So that's dangerous.
God forbid they get promoted, mate. I do not want to see Sheffield United promoted. Fuck them. Can't stand Sheffield United, honestly.
I know. We want the French Mackhams up there instead, don't we? That's what we want.
Yeah.
Incidentally, there are only 3 British-owned clubs out there now. Well, apart from us, we're still British-owned, but Brentford, Brighton and Spurs. But what is to happen, they would be the only 3. And then you've got Sunderland French, you've got Wolves Chinese, you've got Forest owned by a fat Greek, and Leicester have just been relegated, owned by a Thai. Sunderland French, that's it. Millwall have got American owners. Huddersfield have got American owners. Norwich, Plymouth, Portsmouth, Reading, Swansea, West Brom, Barnsley, Charlton, Wrexham, Wickham, Crawley Town, Gillingham and Walsall all got American owners.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so when I'm saying embrace it, I think it's because it's inevitable. I think it is inevitable. If it's not West Ham, it's another club. So as far as I'm concerned, just embrace the change of ownership, because we just need to just get shot for Sullivan. That's it. That's really it. I know that I know it's not going to be plain sailing, and I'm sure there's going to be some, turbulence and rocky roads and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I just want to see him done, mate. I'm sick and tired of him at the club, and so for me, this would be music to my ears seeing him out of West Ham. It would be.
I think, Neil, as David Sullivan used David Gold, and since he died, David Gold's family to vote with him and carry everything that he wanted to do, that has always been the trick that Sullivan has used. Always. I think we heard that Vanessa Gold treats Brady as a bit of an advisor, And the strong advice has been to vote with Sullivan. Kretinsky, I don't know what he's tried to do, whether he's been a bit of a sleeping partner or what since he's moved in there. But one thing's true, he hasn't had any control. And the word on the street is that his two people that he has on the board simply sit there and listen, which is ominous. So he knows what's going on. He wouldn't not know what's going on. These people are a lot, Americans are good at business, really good at business. And they're really harsh as well, right? They won't play, silly games. If they intend to do something, they will do it. And there's nothing that he can do about it, Neil. If they end up with a 60% shareholding, and they chat Kretinsky up, which they probably know Kretinsky already. He's in the same sort of world, right? Yeah. They probably wouldn't do this without having a pre-agreement with Kretinsky, because Kretinsky always saw it as a land deal anyway, and that could be part of it, right? So we get a new stadium in Hackney Marshes. God knows. Honestly, I don't think. I mean, they could actually. The land over where that London Stadium is worth a bloody fortune now. It's like a new Canary Wharf, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I know. It's a worry. It is a worry, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, all things that are outside of our span of control, Gal. It's going to be very interesting, and to see how all of this kind of transpires. Over the next year. I would imagine.
Totally agree. Trudge, yeah. I mean, that is the rumor. That's why why Kretinsky bought into the club in the first place. He saw them buying the stadium. Yeah.
Mm.
So, and Randy saying, Neil, if Tripsmith does acquire gold shares, be the second highest shareholder, 33.1%, with Sullivan 38.8% and Kretinsky at 20.7%. Will not be surprised if Smith wants Kretinsky's shares too. Either that, or he votes with him. Right, one of the two, because he invests for a return, and if there is a land deal going to happen, I would imagine Kretinsky would want to be part of that action, part of that land action.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Essex, Jace, we're going to Thurrock down by the sea. Is that what we're doing?
Oh, can we not have this conversation again? We did this a few months ago.
It just got me depressed.
It does. Yeah, it really
Americans
does.
Might be good at business, but as Man U found out, to the detriment of their club. Well, to the detriment of their fans, because they don't really want, like our mob, and they're no different. The Americans are no different to our board in the way they treat fans and what they think of fans. Yeah, they've already shown you what they think of us with the concession scheme that they rode back on. All that pain for a 600 grand gain. That's all it was.
Yeah,
that's all it was. And yeah. So yes, Tripp did join before Kretinsky. But yeah, Terry Brand's still there, by the way. He's part of that 1.1%. God bless him. I'm just wondering how much land there is, because if you read, what the footprint is, the actual land that's associated with that stadium. It's the stadium and the land it sits on, and all of the operating land around it. And I don't know what that actually is. So I wish someone knew. I can't get an answer. But yeah, that's the Americans. That's the Americans. That's the ownership. Please God, in the next little while, we're going to see something change with the ownership of this damn club at long last. Let's just, before we go on to transfer news, because there's too much of it, I'm going to go for it pretty quickly, actually, because otherwise you're just going to get bamboozled. A few little headlines that I haven't touched on yet. So, first things first, new sponsor, uninspiring, another betting company, Boyle Sports, formed in 1912, 12 million shirt sponsorship, boring. Vlad's son joins, signed forms with us, so that's really nice thing to see. Colton Cole pointed out that even based on this season, where Jared Bowen hasn't had a particularly good time, his stats are still better in terms of goal scoring than Saka, who's in a much better team. So he still thinks that Jared's better than Saka, and so do I. Ferguson is frustrated, according to the Ireland manager, but I think Potter reiterate what he said before, that you can't expect to be half fit and walk into a Premier League side. Stuck on that, Evan. AWB, Rio, after AWP played so well, Rio always delights us with his opinions, right? You'll love this, Chris. He played really well the other day, as you know, and he played brilliantly to help win them the FA Cup last season as well. But that's not good enough for Rio. Rio basically says, oh, yeah, he's playing right now as a different sort of player. But when you come to a club like Man U and you pull on that shirt, it gives a different, it weighs heavy on you and stuff like that. He's just such a fucking tit, that geezer.
He is. I can't stand the guy.
Real.
I really can't.
Yeah. So, what else? Dapo Afolayan, do you remember that youth player?
I do remember him. Yeah.
About to get promoted into the Bundesliga in Germany. So he's done well for himself. Yeah. Aji Alasi could get promoted with Sunderland.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Nice. Yeah.
Irving knows where he needs to improve. More physical and faster.
Oh, well, where's he going to get his pace from then? I mean, that's.
I don't know.
Maybe you have to start giving him some of your cans of Monster Gal, because that's something he might not be able to change.
And in the ongoing saga of Lucas Paqueta, I don't know where this interview was, but I think it was with the official channel. They kind of said, "What's your best memory of West Ham?" What a strange question, as if he's imminently leaving. And he said, "Oh, without doubt, in Prague, winning the Conference League, I'd never forget it," and all that sort of stuff. Right. So he's one of the people linked to leave to go for 29.5 million to Flamengo, who want him out sharpish. They wanted him a few months ago as well.
Yeah.
Kudus, he wants to go to Liverpool apparently, but they don't want him. Odd. Ings, 69 appearances, Ings,
For West Ham, 69.
I didn't know he played that much.
Yeah, I mean, how many of those were off the bench though? I mean, if you honestly, can you imagine how many minutes he's actually played for us out of those 69 games? It's hardly anything.
I know. My point in going through this list, by the way, all these players are linked with a move away, or they're being released, or we know they're leaving. And so this could be a mass farewell against Sunderland on Sunday.
Yeah. Sunderland? Right? Forest.
Against Sunderland on Sunday. Yes. So you got...
against Sunderland? Yeah. What are you talking about?
No, not Sunderland. I've got
Sunderland. Forest. You're confusing me. Forest. Yeah. Well,
Tricky trees, Forest. Yeah, I know what I mean. Right. Emerson. Again, that's rumoured to be interested in Italy, but nothing solid. Absolutely no interest at all with Mavropanos, which is disappointing for me. Zuma, as we know, being released. I don't know if he'll be saying his farewells. Fabianski released, turned down a contract offer with Legia Warsaw. Cresswell, no plans yet. Rodriguez, possible deal to River Plate. JWP, we're listening to offers. Besiktas are interested in Füllkrug. Munich apparently are interested in Alvarez. And he was a former target of Dortmund. Perhaps he'll be better in the German league, or perhaps he will just be better in general if he gets away from us. Because, again, I'll keep repeating it, but I heard it confirmed again by someone else the other day. The rumor is he could think he's a bit too big for West Ham. Yeah. So if that's the way he thinks, you don't want people like that hanging around. Souček, this is a disappointing one. He's been linked with Leeds and Everton in the last couple of days. And I read this report. I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but it says potentially told he can leave.
No, I don't believe that, Gary.
No, I don't either. Same with Areola. Again, that's rumoured that Potter could let him leave. I'm sure he would if there was an offer on the table, but I'm not sure there is. Soufal, Everton or Leeds, they're both going to end up at Everton if they go anywhere, surely. Bowen's price is 150 million, says West Ham, or he's not going anywhere, so he ain't going anywhere. Agüed is staying where he is, and he's got some sort of injury which might water down his purchase price.
He's staying at Sociedad?
Yes.
I know he doesn't want to come back. But does that necessarily mean he's going to go there? Because I heard that other clubs are going in for him.
I did hear that, but I don't think they're interested anymore. And so now Sociedad are trying to get a cut price deal by citing an injury.
No.
The fact that he's been spectacular all year and all that, and he loves it deeply. No, there's no jiggery pokery going on there, honestly. So that is a lot of news about outbounds. But this is kind of a how can I say? We're just kind of clearing the decks of all the rumours here. All the decks, all the rumours. Some of this is kind of plausible. Some of it isn't. A lot of it's nonsense, got to say. I mean, we're being linked with Polinia from Munich, who's 29 years old. He said he's happy at Munich, but we're still being linked with him, right? Why would we buy Polinia? I don't know. what was it? A news feed called Added Minutes. Never heard of it. Me neither. Citing a swap deal between Man U and West Ham for Sancho for Bowen, plus money, obviously, if Chelsea don't want him. And the evidence they gave was he had a good season for Dortmund in 2019-20, right?
I do
That's
not
if
see
Chelsea
that
don't want him
happening.
and they send him back, which they will, obviously.
Yeah. He's barely featured for them this season, has he? So of course they're not going to want to sign him. They've got enough players as it is already.
But I call total bullshit on that story. I don't think.
Yeah, that is. I've never even heard of that news outlet before. The other one that I've been hearing as well, and again, I don't know how true this is about the Japanese player Maeda from Celtic that West Ham are really interested in as well.
Right.
He's a really good player because I follow Japanese football players.
Yeah.
You've got him on your list as well.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
I haven't done the incomings yet. But I've got 15 of them. So shit, Dad.
15.
50 million quid for Zubimendi from Arsenal. Excellent. We'll ask for 50 million. We'll ask for 35. I think it's a fair price, isn't it? That's good to know. I'm sure we know it as well. I'm sure we know it when they're pleading poverty. Bloody hell.
Always happens.
Right, okay. That is the outgoings, but we kind of knew that already. Some of them are a little bit,
just going to the outgoings, Gal. Just talking about the outgoings. Bearing in mind, if hypothetically Mavropanos doesn't go, then I would imagine that you owe me 50 quid because I told you weren't going to go for anything more than 16 million. If he stays, that means you owe me 50 quid.
I think he is going to go because we're looking at a lot of centre halves. One in particular, who is this is a really hot rumour, and that is around CJ Egan-Riley.
Burnley,
22-year-old Burnley stalwart, ever present last season, getting promoted and then leaves.
Well, he's out of contract, and he's coming out of contract, isn't he? That's what, which is for me probably one of the most realistic signings we'll make because he's free. It's just. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player; he's a good player, but from what I understand, he's a good player. I mean, bearing in mind, Burnley conceded 16 goals this season. That's about it.
Yeah.
So he's clearly done a good job in the champ. So, but yeah, free transfer. That's got West Ham written all over, isn't it? Of course, we're going to be in the market for a free transfer. Talking
of free transfers, Jonathan David has said his goodbyes to Lille. I've always been a bit suspicious that this one would not come true. However, I've not seen anybody else bigger than us, higher profile than us, linked with him. And that gives me hope because usually by now you would have, you'd have a club coming. Because I think we could be the next best thing. If you can't get a big Champions League club, we could be the next best thing for him. But
what about European football? What about a club playing in European football, Gal? There are teams that have been interested in him. There are.
No, but surely Premier League and London carries with it a certain amount of prestige. Why would you go and play for? He's leaving Lille, right? They play in the Champions League a lot. So, and the money, right? So it's three things: London, Premier League, money. There are three reasons to come and play in the Premier League. West Ham.
Maybe it's just me that I'm totally pessimistic now with any of these names because we've been touting these ones for fucking ages. Jonathan David in particular. I can't see it happening, mate. Honestly, I think there's more chance of us re-signing Marco Boogers up front next season. I just can't see it happening, mate. Can't. Epic
Ash Time says his agents had a meeting with Napoli. He's going there again. No, I'd look at Napoli and they're a good side and everything, but I'd also, I'd look at us versus Napoli. Don't forget, we managed to get what's his name, Todibo, in front of Juventus. So that's
that's because Juventus couldn't afford him though, Gal. If they could afford him, they would have signed him. That wouldn't have happened for West Ham.
Yeah. Egan Riley was up here on loan to Hibs and he was awful. Don't say that. Bloody hell. 16 goals conceded is ridiculous, says Lincoln Hammer. Right. What else we got? Claire's going to have a strike. I think, remember the Good Johnson deal that never happened?
Oh, God. Deal. Yeah, but that was something that dragged on as well, wasn't it? I remember that.
Every summer, the Idiger Johnson deal would come up, and it's going to happen this summer. I think Jonathan Davies one of those. I think it's
Carlos Bacca as well. That was happening for a couple of seasons, weren't it? About 10 years ago. Carlos Bacca.
Yeah. One of the most ridiculous rumours on here is around Samu Amaridian of Porto, who we could have picked up for 20 million last year, and they're talking about 60 or 80 million now. And we're prepared to break our break our record for him. Like hell we are. Of course we're not. There's no way that's going to happen, right? And that is not the sort of end of the market I would expect Potter to be operating at. No way. What's this say? Arsenal, Chelsea have pulled out of the bidding on David. There's a story a couple of months ago. I wonder why. Hijacked by Spuds. Well, they're not very good, are they, Spurs? I mean,
well,
choice of us and them.
Yeah, but you know what? If they win the Europa League, then suddenly they've got, you know, I suppose there's an edge on the, you know, players joining them over us because they've got European football for next season. Fucking Champions League football as well, come to think of it.
You
Jesus.
know what though, Chris? I was having a chat with a Man United fan over that, and he was saying he don't know whether it's a good thing for Man United to win the Europa League because I'm telling them not to be so bloody stupid. They have to win the Europa League. I did say that, but what he said was they need to do a lot of work. They need to strip it down and start again. And if they get into the Champions League, they might not get a chance to do that. That was his point. It's a good point. You know. Yeah,
I don't know, man. I had this conversation with a United fan today, funnily enough, having exactly the same conversation. And he was of the thinking that they absolutely have to get, you know, or they have to get to the Champions League next season, obviously win the Europa League. Because if they don't, they're in a real dire situation because it's going to be hard to attract the caliber of players that Man United are typically used to attracting if they're playing basically for no European trophies. So I think they have to be. I think they have to win that. Part of the rebuild is actually having the lure of bringing in players that want to play and can play in Europe, you know. So
yes,
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I think En-Nesyri, is the En-Nesyri deal on again?
It's got to be. Yeah. En-Nesyri and Jonathan David up front with Carlos Backer on the bench. It's always the same.
High profile, 15th. You've got to laugh at ourselves. People don't look at that. I mean, a player that will come in, they'll sort of look at, you know, West Ham's positioning, well, not just this year, and they'll look at how much money they can get.
The project.
They'll buy into the project. They'll buy into the project. But the thing is, just because we're finishing 15th this year, it doesn't mean we'll finish 15th next year. I mean, we could finish 20th. We could finish 20th. But we could finish top 10. It depends how good a transfer window this is.
I mean, when you talk about all those outgoings, Gary, because there are so many, and you wouldn't put it past most of those players leaving. But at the same time, not all of them can leave because it's impossible for a club to operate like that, to just get rid of all of those players and bring in effectively 70% of a new squad again. You can't do that. So it does worry me. I don't want to write off next season. I want to go into it with a bit of optimism. I really do. But I can't help but think that, as we said a couple of weeks ago, that next season's got relegation written all over it. I hate to say it, but it does worry me.
Well, it has, but we'll make our mind up about what reality that's going to be over the summer, won't we? Based on who we let go and who we sign,
ownership, right? As well, and ownership.
Can we?
No, we can't. But as it stands currently, if nothing changes, if we still got fucking Sullivan in charge, if we're still holding on to a lot of the crap that we've got, we don't invest and bring in better players, then absolutely, I think we're going to be in a real bad situation next season. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But as you said, if something significant changes in the summer, whether it's ownership, money, investments, whatever it's going to be, bringing in players, and maybe, but it just seems. I'm a West Ham fan, Gal. You know, I'm used to all this shit now. We all are. Come on, we're all used to it. Particularly the older generation of West Ham fans.
My default setting is I don't think Sullivan's going to back him the way he needs backing. Right? That's what I believe.
Of course he won't.
And I hope he proves me wrong. I genuinely do. He needs to. Because otherwise we will be in trouble depending on who we let go of, who we sell.
How can you not invest into that squad right now? It needs a huge injection of cash. It does. It cannot. It cannot. It cannot have a sustained period of any form of success next season if we don't invest.
Yeah, I think when you look at this, Cat, I think the first ones, Chelsea will beat Man United. Obviously, they're rubbish. Villa will beat Spurs because they're rubbish. Southampton to beat Everton. That's where that's going to fall down, right? That ain't happening. I think Everton are going to do them, and we need to win against Forest. That's tough but possible, right? We've got 4 wins out of 4 at home to Forest. They're not a bogey team. They're only a bogey team in their own backyard. That's where they are. 7 players is like 25% of the squad, not 70%. Yeah. Give your head a wobble top 10. Listen to the caveats, right? The caveats are, if we had a stunning window and he gets everybody he needs, then I don't think top 10 should be unachievable because there ain't much difference between the teams that are in, 14th, 15th and 10th, right? I mean, it's, top 10 is 10th.
Gary, by the way, that last comment about 75% or whatever, the 7 players, we weren't talking about 7 players. We were talking about 15 players, weren't we? That's the number that we were typically looking at, maybe even more than that. Potentially, it could be. We've already dropped out 4 out the squad, 5 including Zuma, and then you've got to pick a 10 from a lot of players out there: Paqueta, Kudus, Mavropanos, You know, there's so many there, so it is a massive chunk of the squad. It ain't just 25%.
I think I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they've been doing some pre-work and they know who they're going to go after. But it's whether those deals can get done, isn't it? And
Well, it needs
we
to be
know
done
we've got the
early.
time to do that. Yeah, it does. It does. Because that trip to America, it's bloody tiring. We know from last year it was a bloody waste of a pre-season.
Yeah.
It did nothing for us other than raise some money for the club. So that's probably going to be an annual thing now, obviously. So I know we're playing in a better place this time. There's not going to be like, you know, Falk Lightning or anything like that. It's ridiculous. But, you know, it is really important to get at least most of the players. I don't want to sign anybody once the season started. I want everybody in a good few weeks before the season kicks off.
Well, that's kind of unlikely because we're expecting to sell a lot of players then, you know, quickly, very, very quickly, because it seems as though we're going to need to sell to bring in anyone of any significance into the club. So I suspect that a lot of those signings, as much as I hate to say it, will be very, very close to the beginning of the season. I think we will make some signings, but in terms of big signings, definitely not big signings. Definitely not like, you know, the big strike. Can you see us signing the big striker that we need before we go out to the States or whatever? Can you see that happening? No, I can't see that happening, Gal. Not at all. Can't see that happening.
I can see something happening with David, for instance. Not necessarily West Ham, but that being concluded in the next couple of weeks. Like,
yeah, but it won't be concluded with West Ham, Gal. Honestly, I'll tell you what. Let's switch the bet from Mavropanos to Jonathan David. It's not happening. Let's just forget about it. It's not happening. I'm telling you, not happening.
No, I can't because I've got that. I'll bank that already. That Mavropanos one. You know it's coming home, right? You know it's coming home.
Anyway, not a chance in hell, mate. Not a chance in hell. But no, honestly, we do need to talk about Jonathan David because that's just a non-starter, mate. I'm sorry. I'd love it. I'd want nothing more than for us to sign him, but I just can't see it happening.
The sell to buy mantra is another clue to potential. Yeah. I mean, we were all. Again, it depends. When Kretinsky first arrived at the club, and we did spend a load of money when he arrived, we were kind of all speculating that Kretinsky was going to take more of an interest. Turns out he ain't really got an interest. He ain't even got an interest in his own club. For those of you that were in Prague, you see that's the old stadium across the road was rotting from the fan zone. That was his club. He ain't spent a penny on it in years. Right, probably keeps it for Mavroponi. Bit unkind. He's he played well against Man United. I'll have you know.
He played well against who?
Man United.
How long was he on the pitch for?
You can only beat what's in front of you, right? You can only play well for the amount of minutes you're on, Chris. I mean, come on.
But it doesn't necessarily warrant him having a good game. The fact that he played about 5 minutes. How can you say that? You can't say that. He's shit. I'm not touchy. I don't know. I'm in a bad mood. I am in a bad mood today.
You're in a bad mood. Fucking hell, I've cheered myself up after.
I know you have. Yeah, I know you have. Yeah.
200k a week at least. Not with us, it wouldn't be. We got a wage structure. Not unless we get rich Americans, then it'll be 400 grand a week for 10 years. Todd Bowley style. I think 8 years is the maximum you sign a player for. Why you'd ever want to do that? I don't know. But
who are the other players? Because I know you've got a list of them, right? That you thought we were linked with. You're talking about incomings here. Yeah, go through them because I've got one or two names that I've heard as well. Yeah. I'm interested to see if you've got them.
I did a full sweep. So what I've just read you out in terms of the ones that are supposedly outgoing or rumours about, they're all the ones I've read in articles, right? So here are all the ones I've read about that look kind of, some of them are real jokes, but Mainz, Jonathan Burkhardt, striker and top scorer in the Bundesliga, release clause 20 million, 18 goals for assists in 31 games. Looks like a good buy. Alper Yilmaz of Galatasaray, rumoured to have already turned down 21 million from us. Apparently close to being like a Turkish Phil Foden.
Turkish Phil Foden. I don't know why that just sounds weird. Turkish Phil
like Foden. Brother from another mother, I'm telling you.
Has he got like nice hair and really good teeth as well? I mean, you know.
Everyone in Turkey's got a new set of teeth, you know that. Right. Jonathan David, we've covered him already. Jan Bisek, giant Inter centre-back. I don't know why he would be interested in coming to West Ham after playing the Champions League final and maybe winning it, but he's taken by Romano, that one.
We're massive, mate, that's why. But no,
we are huge.
I know.
It is a good name for you. Tati Castellanos, striker, Lazio, 14 goals, 8 assists. Wolves Forest interest, 26 years old, 30 to 35 million euros. We know about Liam Delap already. Chelsea won him, Man U won him as well. We ain't getting him. Egan Riley, I've mentioned him already. He's a centre back, a right-sided centre back.
He's guaranteed. He's guaranteed to join us. He is, by the way, definitely. That's happening.
He's been offered a 5-year deal with Strasbourg. That's how serious they are. But Premier League versus Strasbourg, going to go Premier League.
I mean, where are Strasbourg? Sorry, Strasbourg. What position are they in the French league?
I don't know. Don't care.
Well, yeah, but
are they in London, Chris? No, they're not.
Okay, so no, my point being, no, but this is my point, though. This is my fucking point, right? So Strasbourg, I don't know, right? So maybe I'm completely off here, but I don't see Strasbourg as a particularly big club. The fact that Strasbourg are going in for this Egan Riley geezer, right? And where are the other clubs going in for him? Why is it? I mean, is it? And I don't know how good he is. I've heard that he's had a good season for Burnley. That's all I know. I don't know how good he is. But
it's top draw, Chris. It's top draw. That's all you got to worry about.
I hope I'm totally wrong here. Someone says Strasbourg finished 4th. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. 4th in the French league. Yeah, I guess that's good.
Yeah, it's like an under-23 league, isn't it? But Nicholas Jackson going to West Ham. I haven't heard that one, but Nick Jackson, he always scores against us. So I'd be buying one of those players that always scores against us. The equivalent to, let's think of one of them, Lukaku, right? Signing Lukaku. Why don't we sign Czech players anymore? I don't know. It's a good question, though. Next one is Dalzin Maeda, the one you mentioned earlier from Celtic.
He is a good player, and this is not just me being biased because of my Japanese roots. He genuinely is a very, very good player. He's a left winger, and he can play as a striker as well. And he's scored a lot of goals this season. There's a friend of mine, actually, he's a Celtic fan, and he told me I think he scored near on close to about 30-odd goals this season across all competitions. But I've seen him play. He's really good, Gal. He'd be great signing for us. So it probably won't happen.
You must have joined late, Mark, because I've called out that link. It's the blue, whatever. The club, the company that owns Chelsea, they also own Strasbourg. Yeah. So yeah, that's the link to Chelsea.
Right, Strasbourg are 6th. Randy just pointed out, so they're not as massive as we. Strasbourg are in for him. Yeah, we'll go in for him as well.
My matey work begs us to buy Jackson. What's that? So I'm out. Trudge. We did have good success with the Czechs. Jackson can't hit Ballon d'Or unless he's playing against West Ham. Yes,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes. Jackson has scored 10 goals in the first season, and then the goals vanished. Yeah, Lots of technically gifted Eastern Europeans. Yes, there are half the price, cap price. This is the next one I was coming to actually. Emmanuel Omega, Chelsea.
From
Chelsea
Strasbourg.
Youth. Is he from Strasbourg? God knows, but I don't even know. I haven't looked into him at all. But that's a link because Potter likes him. He played under Potter. Here's one that you'll all like: Harry Maguire. It was being rumoured in one article that we'd agreed a 30 million deal with Man United. I don't know if they'd dragged that up from last year and requoted it. I don't know.
How old is Harry now?
I don't know, but look, he has had a decent season, and when he came on, you got to say at the weekend, he was bloody good with his head.
Well, he is.
Big
and I
head.
think,
He throws it in there.
You know, the funny thing with Maguire is when we were linked with him under Moisey, we were like, fuck no, it's way too much money, which it was at the time for us. But looking back, actually, you can see what he would have brought to West Ham, and that's the leadership that we lack so much. And so in that respect, I know that he's got a mistake in him as well. But in terms of leadership at the back, if he was playing alongside the likes of Tadibo and one other, he suddenly makes you think that potentially it might not have been the worst decision in the world to bring Maguire in. Do you know what I mean? I know people might kind of frown upon that, but you look at the bigger picture in terms of, you know, his as I say, his leadership abilities, how good he is in the air, set pieces, all those sort of things. I don't know, but I think maybe
we have no leadership at the back, none. Right?
We've got none in the team, Gal, let alone the back.
No, we don't. But look, anyway, 30 million. He didn't even want to come to us when Moyes was there, did he? Polina, he's happy at Munich, like we said. Here's one that you'll like. Aaron Ramsdale from relegated Southampton.
Move on next. No, we do not want him. See, if that happens, then my fears of relegation may well come true, because he is like the Roger Johnson of goalkeepers.
Roger the relegator.
Yeah, the relegator, mate. You do not want relegator Ramsdale on your team. No way. I can't bet. No, thank you.
Imagine this, though. Imagine Ramsdale with Maguire and Mavs in front.
Wow!
Behold, a beautiful thing.
Well, you'd be able to see that from your posh seats, Gal, next season. You'll be loving it, wouldn't you?
Just about. So we've only got a few to go. We're nearly at the bottom of this. We've already touched on Samu Amaridian. Don't buy that one. Alexander Soloth.
Okay, yeah. Norwegian
Yeah.
striker, isn't he?
Yeah. So Villa and Newcastle want him as well, so we ain't getting him. I've already spoken about the Sancho Bowen swap deal, which is nonsense. I mentioned Visser on my solo show yesterday.
Yeah.
Right winger, come striker, 20. Yeah, scored a lot of goals, 18 goals this season. 20. They've turned down apparently 22 million from us. But again, you don't know whether that's true or not. A name that I really like, Lemonarco, Kevin Lemonarco, right-footed centre back. Yeah.
Where's he play?
Oh God, Maguire is 32. He's a centre back, Chris, and there's quite a number of centre backs in here in this list.
Yeah.
You know, what I don't see in this list. Oh, last one is Arden Jashari, a defensive midfielder, and again, I've done that in my solo show yesterday. So when you look at all these players, there's a hell of a lot in there. There's everything from good to crap to sort of average. Too many.
Have you got?
There's no way.
Have you got the lad from Club Bruge in your list?
Yeah, that was one of them ones I just read out. I think.
Does it?
I don't know which one.
Raphael Onyedika.
Onyedika.
Yeah.
Did you just make that up?
No, God, the way you pronounced it sounds so wrong. But yeah, Onyedika.
Onyedika.
I'm telling you, his name is Raphael Onyedika.
Just swear down, dear.
Swear down, honestly. No, Onyedika, he's a holding midfielder for Club Bruges. Very physical player, apparently. And you know, again, maybe a position. Actually, it seems it's clearly a position that we need to kind of look at.
What position does Onyedika play? I don't know.
Tamori.
20 minutes. Ain't a player. Ain't a real person.
I'm telling you, Onyedika. Fucking Google it, mate. Onyedika.
I reckon it's Onyedika.
It could be that.
We can't call it. We can't have a player called Onyedika, can we? Can't happen.
Oh, I don't know, mate. He probably plays up front quite a lot. Do you reckon? I don't know. Or is he on the floor? I don't know. It's a tough one. What position he plays in? I don't know. But no,
Lamanako is from Independiente. Right.
Would you get on your dick on the back of your shirt, Gal?
On your dick. Be a challenge.
I need to look at the pronunciation of this. Maybe I've completely ballsed it up there, but yeah, that's how I've read it. How did you pronounce it?
Onyedika. Onyekida.
Oh man, what a name! We need to sign him up. But no, apparently he's meant to be a good player. He's very physical. I think he's a decent dribbler of the ball as well. Holding midfielder, Nigerian, good player, and apparently he's good in the box as well. Apparently,
that's a tragic name, isn't it? That's a tragic name.
He's so West Ham. We should sign him just because of his name, shouldn't we? Really?
I think we should.
He's our number one signing. And then we've also got, let's not forget Daniel Cummings as well. He's always been linked with us because we didn't get him, did we, before? So we could have Cummings and Onyedika.
It's disgusting, Chris. It's disgusting.
I'm just saying we could have both.
So that is just, great. Good dribbler.
Claire, I'm sorry. That's what Claire just put there.
It is a song in the making. You're absolutely right. It's a song in the making there. The songwriters are probably at work on that already, I would imagine.
I'm trying it. I'm literally, my eyes are watering. Oh, God.
Right. So I think that is I've concluded my I've gone through my entire sheet of links. That's all I've got. I'm out of stock. I've got no one else. Once we that was just reading out a list. Once we start boiling them down and things become a little bit more, like there is some substance to some of these rumors, then we do a little bit more profiles and see if they fit, right? I think I listened to a very interesting rundown of the kind of the type of football that Potter is playing at the moment, and it's kind of a hybrid type of football where it's possession in our half, but then the difference to what we were playing a couple of weeks ago, like against Bournemouth, is that once we cross the halfway line and we're on the attack, we're moving the ball much more quickly. So rather than going slow all the way up the pitch, we're going slow, quick. That's how we do.
Sorry, I can't read the chat. I'm listening to you, Gav, but I can't. I'm just crying here. Honestly, this is too much. Apparently, he's pulled.
Oh, what have we had in here? Paul Dickoff's cousin. Oh dear
Oh
God.
man,
Yeah.
honestly, we nearly had Jiffy condoms as a sponsor.
I know.
That's true.
There's only one on your
It was
dicker.
all over them, weren't it?
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't handle it.
How is the commentator going to pronounce that? So, you know it's going to be on your.
God.
Yeah. Ain't going to be that, is it? Going to come up. Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I'm done. I can't handle it anymore, Gal. Honestly, I'm crying here. It's just little things that make me laugh sometimes, and that's just done it for me. That's absolutely done it for me. Oh, wow! Look at that! Look at my eyes; they're red. I've been laughing so much. I'm crying here,
Chris.
Oh, I've got to stop looking at the chat.
I know.
The chat is killing me.
I know they do.
But no, apparently he is supposed to be a good player. So, regardless of his name, let's hope that if it's true, then maybe there's something in that.
It's fucking. Honestly, I'm still not convinced that this ain't a big wind up and this player don't exist, because that is a fucking fictional name.
Please Google it. I beg you, please Google it and share it on the screen right now, Gal. I'm not lying to you. He's a real player.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to.
And I've seen it in a few outlets. I've seen it in a few outlets as well. His name is Raphael Onyedika. By the way, Onyedika is not spelt the traditional way. It's spelt. It is spelt. Let me look at this. It's spelled Onyedika.
Oh, E. There we go. All right.
Huh?
Raphael Onyedika.
You found him, yeah?
Right foot, 16 million, Nigerian. Yeah, central midfielder, defensive midfielder. Started a lot of games for Club Bruge.
Yeah.
He played for FC Midtjylland before that. Who played for them? Was that Caduce who did Midtjylland?
He came from the Danish league. But he played against us, I think, when he was playing for SC Bruge as well. But yeah, apparently he's someone that we are looking at. So yeah, on your different.
Right. So all right, it does exist. All right, I believe you now. I believe
he does exist. He does exist.
He does. Right. I think we're we're done, aren't we? There's nothing else. I have nothing left in stock. I've spurted out everything I've got. Literally nothing left.
Oh yeah, I think we're done, mate. I think we're done. But no, I think but yeah, talking of the United trip at the weekend, because we haven't really spoken about that since. But no, it was very enjoyable. And if you haven't watched the we don't call it a vlog. Everyone calls it vlog. We do call them vlogs because in effect it is a vlog. But it was more of a road trip, really, because it's a long old drive and it was a good laugh, wasn't it, driving up there?
It is. Brilliant day.
And there's a lot more footage that we film, but we can't put it up for kind of reasons of being a little bit PC, I think. Some of it's a little bit, we've got to be a bit careful. But yeah, it was quality. And to be fair, like it was good up in the posh seats, mate. I enjoyed that, but it was so hard to not celebrate goals. My God, that was so difficult.
You had that really mean bloke start having a go at you for having your camera out, didn't you?
I didn't see that. Yeah, Geezer turns around and goes, "Yeah, you
fucking camera off.
Yeah, you're fucking filming that. You're
fucking word he was saying.
Yeah, you're fucking wanker. Yeah, and I was like, and I'm still holding my camera. I'm like, yeah, just carrying on. But apparently the other
just carried on.
Yeah, but then you had the other geezer in front, the big lads. Apparently, he was sticking his fingers up at me. I didn't even notice that, but I think he did. Yeah, but that's what the guys were saying. But I don't know if they thought it was the blokes in front of us. I'm not sure because they knew that because when West Ham scored the first one, you did a it's like that, and you just kind of like sat back down in your seat and kept quiet, sort of like. But me, I kind of did what I knew I was going to do. I was like that was what I did, like a proper like. But yeah, it was so hard. I
reckon they thought it was you who shouted out. I reckon they thought it was you because when they turned around, I was doing my best innocent impression, and you had your camera out. Yeah,
I was filming myself going, fucking 1-0, whatever.
I should have gone. It was him, West Ham.
Yeah, it was him. Yeah, the camera guy. Yeah, camera wanker. But no, but yeah, it was so hard, and it's so typical, right? Because as we said in the vlog, like I've gone through 9 games, 9 away losses in a row. I've had opportunities where I could have gone to away games where we have actually won, annoyingly, but I've just picked out the ones that we've lost. This is only over the course of the last season or so, right? It's so typical that the game that we win, I'm sitting with the fucking home fans, so I can't celebrate and get involved in the limbs. Do you know what I mean? That was so hard. But I really wanted to celebrate that. So that was the only downside to it, in truth. But it was good to see the reaction of the United fans, because you just sit there like, yeah.
On the upside, you get there nice and early. You can have a couple of beers. You have 2 courses before the match starts. You watch the first half. We're winning. You come in. You have dessert, overdose on dessert, and then you win the second half. You come in. You have a cheese board.
Yeah. It was nice, mate.
Not too bad.
It was really
nice.
I had
a lot of blue cheese. I tell you, a lot of blue cheese.
Man, you had a lot. We all know. We all know what happened to you after the game. So,
it was fucking explosive. That was. Don't want to go into any detail, but it weren't good. It weren't good.
Monster and a 5-course.
It's like a crime scene in that cubicle, Chris. Code red.
Let's be honest, man. It was like a crime scene in the car, mate. But you know.
But yeah, oh, wow. I'm going to go this Sunday. I haven't sold me tickets. I thought I had, but
I told you would go. Did I not say you were going to go? You said
you
weren't.
I knew you were. I've got a different mindset, but as well, I didn't really consider. Number one, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to get hammered a year, right? Number two, there's a lot of players that we could be seeing for the last time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also to give Creswell a bit of a send off. Would
and
be nice.
Soufal and potentially Souček, maybe Paqueta, maybe Kudus.
Well, to be fair, Soufal's already said kind of his goodbyes. He was waving at me on Sunday because I shouted out to him when everyone had gone. The whole stadium was empty. He was sitting in the goal net with Souček, and they both turned around waving at us. Yeah, because we were shouting out. I think me, Gavin, and Fred were shouting out to him, and they both turned around and waved at us. I was like, yeah. You know, they knew we were there, Gal. They knew we were there representing. They knew we were West Ham. I gave them the iron sign as well. But yeah, we should say goodbye to those players. I think they deserve a good send-off, definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I just hope we can finish this fucking tragic home season. Because at home, it's been crap, hasn't it? It's literally been a handful of highlights. Right?
It's true, mate.
It'd be really nice to finish on a high. What would be really good would see the Fat Greek run on the pitch after and chase after, like, Benny Hill chase after the.
That would be funny. Yeah.
What's his name?
Funny,
the manager again, Nuno. Fucking chasing on the pitch. Yeah,
he
was. Yeah. I don't know what he was doing. Being on it was.
He's being a bellend, wasn't he? He was being a complete and utter knobhead. I mean, not being funny. He should be so grateful in terms of what Nuno's done for Forest. The fact that he's even got them anywhere close to where they are, he's just unbelievable. But to kind of, I mean, Nuno can only say certain things, right? But I'm sure he was seething. Yeah, I'm sure he was. By the way, Lucas, it definitely rhymes with Pitt. Yeah, it definitely rhymes with Pitt.
Yeah, definitely does. Definitely
I'm not
does.
quite sure what this is all about. The glory hole days. I don't know what that's. I don't think there's any of that going on. Just to put that out there. No. Oh, this is a great comment from Ray Burke here. On your dicker will provide stiff competition. I like that. Very good. very, very good.
So let's have predictions. Let's have predictions for what's going to happen in the mighty game at the weekend. So you know what? Last game of the season. Players have just started to click in this sort of new system that you weren't listening to just now, right? You'll get a chance to see it again on Sunday. The one doubt in my mind is we do struggle against teams who play on the counter 4-2-3-1. You know, we've been undone by a few of them, haven't we?
We've been undone by quite a few different formations this season, Gal.
No, but I mean at home, you're looking at Brentford, Palace, those teams that have played that sort of counter-attacking game. We've struggled against it, but that was a few iterations ago. I hope we've improved since then. So I'm going to go. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go 2-1 to West Ham.
Okay.
What are you going for?
I don't want to be the negative guy again.
It's traditional.
Well, it's not traditional because I'm not being funny. Every pretty much the whole of this season, I've been saying West Ham win most games or a draw. It's only recently I've been saying losses, and I do think I know it's the last game of the season, but I've got a feeling that Forest. Well, they've got to win this game. This is a must-win game for them, Gal. If they're going to get a European spot, they need to win this game, particularly Europa League, right? So I think they're going to beat us, and I reckon they're going to beat us narrowly. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Forest. I hope in my heart that doesn't happen, but I think that it will.
Tell you what, I think I spoke with a Nottingham Forest season ticket holder last week, and he said they've blown up big time. They've gone to pot. That's why I'm quite confident. We're playing a bit better. It's another reason I'm quite confident. I don't think we're brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, and I think we're going to come unstuck if they play well suddenly. I don't believe they will, though. I think that's going to be a bit demoralising what happened. I think they're going to be playing with pressure on them after having it in their own hands for the whole season. Suddenly it's down to the last game. That's a lot of pressure on them. And they might push a bit too hard and leave themselves wide open.
Well, they've got 2 games. They've got 2 games, and ideally they're going to need to get 4 points minimum out of those 2 games. I think they're going to see this game this weekend as a must-win. I think they will. And wouldn't you as well? If you're in Forest's position, then you look at where West Ham are in the league, you'd expect that you'd go there and you'd beat them, particularly at our stadium, knowing what the atmosphere is like on the stadium, knowing how the fans can turn on the players that they have done this season. So that's my worry, but I hope I'm totally wrong. I think, in fact, I'm going to keep predicting losses because I predicted a loss against United on Sunday and we won. So
no, exactly. That's why I'm not saying anything. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. You predict away. You predict away. So yeah, look, it's going to be tough. No matter what, it's going to be tough. I would take a draw. A draw would be all right, but it would be nice to carry on pushing up the table. I think Spurs and Man U are going to lose, so I think we're going to stay in 15th, irrespective of what happens. But again, a point would be good. Again, it would be
be a good point. Be a good point. I'd like to see. What would I like to see? I would like to see Fulkrug. I'd like to see Fulkrug score on Sunday.
Yeah, because it might be another one that we're seeing for the last time at home, right?
I hope it's not. I want us to hold on to him. I do. I'm not saying he's our first choice striker, but I hope that he stays at West Ham for a season. And I also think that perhaps maybe even owes it to us because he has been injured for the majority of it. So I think it would be good to see him stay. And I think he's a good, honest pro as well. So yeah, I like him. I like him so much. I like fucking Fulkrug. Got the big German bastard right here. I've got him right here. I might even wear this. I might even wear it, mate. I might even wear it.
Yeah. He's okay. So what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what it is now. I think we're. I don't think there's any injuries for the weekend. I think we're all good. I just hope that it doesn't. I'm quite like this mild, happy cycle. I'd like it to continue a little bit. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice just to not lose?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, if we can get 2 more wins, imagine that 3 wins on the spin would be unimaginable, wouldn't it? Based on the season we've had, but
it would be.
I'm praying and hoping. I'm going to Ipswich as well last game of the season, which I'm really looking forward to. Really looking forward to that one.
I think we win that one.
Yeah, I do as well. I think we will win that game. And
yeah.
So I'm actually looking forward to these games. I've not really been looking forward to them recently, but these last 2 games I am, because I think maybe it's because I see the end in sight. I can see the fact that we're going to end the season. And I also feel that off the back of that performance that we had against United on Sunday, that I think we will make a good account of ourselves. Actually, I do think that. I don't think we're never going to get turned over as such, but I actually think the players will turn up, as opposed to maybe some of the previous games. Because also, as you've said before, some of them are probably going to be playing for a move, putting themselves in the shop window, and this is now the ideal time for them to do it. In the last 2 games, they've got 2 more chances, haven't they, to do that?
That'd be a nice touch. Make Cresswell the captain against Ipswich.
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what? That's a really good shout because he's definitely more of a leader than Bowen, isn't he? So yeah. And against his old team as well.
I don't know the last time we won 3 games in a row, Randy. I bet it must have been early last season if we did that at all.
I can't remember, is the honest truth. I think it would have been. I think it was around in winter time. Was it not November, December, January time? I think it was under Moyes.
It might have been around that Arsenal win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arsenal Spurs wins. Yeah.
I can't remember.
We went on a little run there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
But I do believe in having bogey sides. That's why we always struggle against Brighton, always struggle against bloody Brentford and whatever. They've never provided an issue for us at home in the Premier League. 4 out of 4. So I think on that basis, it's going to be a good weekend. We're going to say bye-bye to a lot of players that we're never going to see again, even the likes of Paqueta, maybe, right? So
I think we'll also be saying goodbye to a lot of season ticket holders as well, because a lot of them aren't renewing. It's true, isn't it? Though? There's so many that have renewed.
Yeah. Anyway, let's call it a day. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe to the Bobby Moore Stand on YouTube and give the video a like, just for effort. I mean, we've done it, just laptop and everything.
I'll tell you what, people need to understand the pain that Gary was going through to come on here tonight. Honestly, I thought it wouldn't have surprised me if you beat the living shit out of your room there and there was nothing left. You sounded fuming, mate. You sounded angry.
I nearly smashed up my roadcaster. I nearly smashed it up.
I could
That's
hear
all right.
because I was talking to you on the phone and I could hear all bashing and banging. I don't know what you were doing,
Punching my
mate.
roadcaster.
Yeah, bang your head against the wall. I don't know what was going on. You weren't happy, but you did make the effort, and I think you're right. I think the effort alone of Gary getting on it tonight is worth a like in itself. So yeah, like the video, would be much appreciated.
Right. All right, thank you very much all. Cheers, Chris.
Cheers.
See you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments. Thanks, Claire, for modding, and good night. Come on, yours. Oh, press the wrong button. Try again.